Okay. Okay. These that are in my head shouldn't work at all. I'll explain. Let me lower the expensive amp. And let's look at Rika for a second and then go, okay, Rika, what am I listening to? Well, it came out of this bag because it's an early production model. The new one, the real one is out. It's got real packaging, so don't worry about that. I just thought it was hilarious that the company that... Well, you're going to see. But there's the oBravo bag. I'm using the Fio box from one of my infinite numbers of Fios to hold all the accessories. And there's only a handful. These are the oBravo Cupids. And they have dual driver. And it's not a balanced armature and a dynamic. And it's not a dynamic and another dynamic. And it's not two balanced armatures. It's a dynamic... It's dynamic and a planar. And even though it says that the planar is the tweeter, I don't believe, at least from what I've heard, that there is a crossover network, which means you have two full-range drivers in the same housing. Completely different builds, and you shove them in there, and then magic comes out. And it's a weird magic, because here's the thing. If I give you a speaker, and then I give you another speaker, like slightly to the side, maybe a little bit in front, and you play them both at the same time, it's going to sound fucking weird. So now shove that weird in your ear. Let me give you the... There, right now, at least this oBravo Cupid oBravo, where to buy it. The site that I found has it for £300 UK, and that's about 360 US. I will get you a link to a real place to buy these, I hope. Otherwise, you're going to be buying it from here and having it shipped. And you've never heard of oBravo, right? I never heard of oBravo. What the hell is an oBravo? Turns out, they also sell stuff like this. 9,000-pound ceramic enclosure 8mm AMT2 driver with a 16mm dynamic coaxial. So they sell like what? I didn't even know they made IEMs this expensive. So let's get back to their cheapest offering, which is the oBravo, and how insanely good it is. Now, I laughed because 9,000-pound thing, and they gave everyone the bag, but it's fine. The case exists. At least you could buy a case. It comes in a box now. Comes with standard tips. I, of course, have my Dakoni tips on there. I will try to get you the link for those. They are getting harder and harder to find. It comes with this, which I thought was hilarious because it's a bag, but it's not just any bag. It's a bag that has, like, pant legs because it's separated left and right. And that's kind of interesting, so your IEMs don't clash around on the inside. Take my pants off. And then it comes with two adapters, and I'll be nice enough to unplug this. 2.5mm wire standard. I think it's standard. You could check. And it has very, very, very tight weave for it, like real tight. Nice and straight. I don't hate it. I don't exactly fall in love with it. I'll pull the IEMs out of my ears in a second. But this one also comes with obviously 2.5 and an adapter to go 4.4, which means I can plug it into here, which means I can use my QES reference amp for that. And it also comes with a 2.5 to 3.5mm in case you want to be a normie. You want to be a normie? No. Put that down. So, connectivity options. I like things that come balanced. I believe in balanced IEMs. If I could never balance a headphone again, but every IEM I ever listen to will be balanced, I'd take that. IEMs just do something more when you balance them. They're much more finite. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're talking about finite. Because, and several people in my patronage chat have these, or have heard reviews of them already, or own them, or have heard them at shows. And it takes a real long time, at least 4 or 5 minutes of listening to it, before your brain can adapt. And I think that's got to do with the dual driver, because they're overlapping the frequencies a lot. I'm sure one does more than the other, but the fact that they're overlapping means that there's a slight time delay. And the slight time delay, your brain picks up as going, something's wrong. You know, when something makes a sound, like, hey, someone yells, hey, you don't hear it and then hear an echo, or you might hear an echo if he yells it into a hallway, you'll hear two sounds. So you're hearing two sounds at such a minutely close time spectrum that when you put these in for the first time, you're like, these sound weird. At first, they just sound weird. And I'm okay with weird. I've reviewed things before that are just weird. By the way, haven't come out of my ears yet. Weird is fine. I like weird because I get bored. I have quite a, giant table of stuff, and I'm hoping nothing on it is normal, because normal gets boring. But these... everything about them, it feels like twice the IM. It feels like twice the IM. The bass notes hit, and you get, you don't just get a dynamic going, ooh, bass. You got a dynamic and a planter going, ooh, bass. And you're like, wow, what's that? And then you're like, well, what about the sound stage? And it's hard to describe because it's everywhere and nowhere. I have pinpoint accuracy and wide soundstage. Almost impossible to do. But like I said at the very, very beginning, these shouldn't work. You can't just shove two drivers doing the exact same frequencies into an IEM and say, work. Work now. They were actually testing, the people in my patronage chat, in case you aren't in the $10 Patreon chat, were actually testing to see if they needed to warm up, because they sound so much different after 5-10 minutes of listening to them. And I've concluded, based on the fact that I do this for a living, that it's literally, it's like when you wear blue blocker sunglasses. You ever have those? You ever see the tinted, they're like orange tint, and you put them on and everything's fucking orange, and you're like, oh God. And then 5, 10, 15 minutes goes by and things look less orange. And then after a while, it's just like, this is reality now. And then when you pull them off, everything's blue. That's what these are doing to your hearing. There's such a weird timing thing that if you listen to them for 10, 15 minutes, you get used to that and you go, wow, I could appreciate the depth that these are trying to present. And then there's sounds and then the frequency response, and it's so sharp, but yet so soft. And it's like, oh. And then if you switch to another IEM, you're like, oh, bored. Bored now. But it takes that, there's a break in, when everyone has the argument, well, burn-in doesn't exist. Driver burn-in doesn't exist. You don't have to run pink noise for 20 hours. And I don't believe, but then I do believe in burn-in. I do believe the actual physical driver can change. Sometimes it doesn't matter at all, and sometimes things are just stiff as fuck. You just need to break them in. Just let them play for a while, and let the materials move, and they'll move. Because think about how small, especially on an IM, how small the movement is. That if you could change that by 1/10 of a millimeter through break-in, it's going to change the sound a lot. But people will argue burn-in doesn't exist. It's just your hearing breaking in. It's just you getting used to it. And I believe in that too. And there is no better example in the world than the oBravo Cupids, which are still in my ears, by the way. I haven't taken them out because I just want to do that. And there's a reason they're not out. We're going to talk about the fit and the wire a little bit, but that'll be at the end. First, sound. I know. Call at least paramedics because heart attacks are happening. Your brain has to get used to hearing these, and then it gets really... It's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I want to hear next song. Oh, shit. The Natural OST with Robert Redford. Great movie, by the way. Link to that in the description. Ha, Future Zeos. You never thought you'd pull that one out your ass. Bob Marley, Three Little Birds. Not particularly well-recorded song. But there's this 3D grid. It's like I'm playing in VR. It's like the greatest room DSP ever. Just ever. And I don't want to just call it straight up sound size. Like the OH10s. I love the Ico OH10s. $190. You just cannot fucking beat them for soundstage and bass. But these have bass similar to those, very impactful low end, and then not sound stage like sound fuckery. It's something beyond just width. It's like front, back, up, down, because there's drivers doing these weird things. Like, I'm gonna just do my hand motions like, oh, Zeos, that's a Zeos video. If we mute the video, you can definitely tell what he's talking about. Because I don't know how to describe it. Why is Bob Marley only with these IEMs really interesting to listen to? There's like, he stops talking and there's an echo to the background. And I've listened to, these songs are really terribly recorded. The Legends CD is just, I don't like it. But I'll listen to it with these. That's weird. They can be soft and violent and narrow and wide all at the same time. And if that intrigues you, like it should, put them on your Christmas list. Now let's take them out of my head. Hold on, wait. Predator 2, the one starring Danny Glover and not Arnold Schwarzenegger, that happens in LA and not the jungle. The opening title. I can't, like, I feel like I brought really, really precision monitors, like way better than the T5Vs, but I feel like I brought them into a sewer with me, and they're playing, and they're perfectly clear, but then there's all this echo, and it's like washing me with sound, but it's not wrong? I don't know, it's kind of like if I tried to describe a dream. So let's look at them. Ah, fuck. They are the weirdest fucking shape and design. Do I have a regular IM? All right, here's like a regular IM, and please excuse me for using Andromeda Golds as a regular IM. I'm sure that's going to offend somebody. But the way they usually fit, bottom up into the ear, and this over the ear, and that's how it sits. Sort of like this. This is sort of like the way it goes. Front, in, over. These are designed to go over your ear, but the wire is dead straight. There's no curve to it, like there should be a curve. These have a plastic like heat shrink that gives it the shape. So what you got to do with this, and this is the right ear, is you've got to sort of like make your own curve. It's like a game. So you see how the wire is like naturally going that way. So I want to twist this MMCX. This MMCX, which I have to yank out really hard, is custom notched, so you can't change the wire. And that is to prevent the wire from degrading, because MMCX, the little pop-in ones, like everybody uses, no. oBravo says that's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not fucking good enough. So we're going to put a little notch, a little tiny notch, and a little tiny key, and this way you can only plug these in one specific direction. You can spin this all around, it goes whoop, and then you can go, and pop that in. And then you have this just straight wire. So now you got to put this in my, let me see, my right ear here. And then you have to take this wire, which doesn't naturally want to bend backwards because just how it came out of the factory. And you got to sort of put that over. So you get this like really long, I don't understand the length on this, but it's insanely long connector. I mean, look at this little baby connector. It's a little baby connector. It's like half the size before the damn strain relief. So you get them in your ear, and this is, again, here's my tips. I'll take my tips off. Very, very, very large this is, by the way. Oh, Hi-Fi Fan bit me. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention, and I failed. Very large nozzle, which you have to shove the thing. If you don't want it to affect the sound, you have to get it way on there so that it's basically flush with the front, which makes fitting it a little bit harder. So then you get this, like, it's not a, I don't understand this, like, shape, but I'm not paid to understand the shape, I'm just paid to complain about it. So you get that, then you get this long-ass goddamn connector, the thing might as well be an 1/8-inch plug, and then you gotta loop this over your ear, and then you have, like, so it's this weird, like, it doesn't feel right, and you can get them to fit. You're gonna get these to fit. You can get them to fit. I got them to fit, but as soon as you get them to fit, you stop moving. I think that might also be the reason I think they're so good. Is because you ever been like in a haunted house and you're so afraid you can't move? It's like that. You put them in and you get them to seat right. and they get them to fit over your ears. And you do this, and nothing like pops out or moves, and you're like, oh God. And you appreciate your music in absolute stillness. That could be fixed by letting me change the wire, but since this is a permadeath wire, we're stuck with it. I know a couple people who have bought these and then taken a little saw and cut away just cut everything, just to cut the shit out of it to get that away. So they could use any other cable, because I would there's nothing wrong with this cable, like as far as the build quality goes. It's actually really nice. You got these double twists with like the little waves in it. That's fine. You got a little oBravo. Look how small that is. It's one of the smallest little separators I've ever seen. And the cable is nice and straight. It's a decent length. It's a little short maybe, but you know, I'll accept everything about it. I like the connectors on it. I like the adapters it comes with, but I mean, just sell another cable then maybe? I'm sure they do. I'm sure oBravo sells another cable. So here's your right, here's your left. They are a shiny metallic. I like to bang things together. It's fun. You know, if you can get around this weird, like, if you just consider that it didn't come off, because since you can't change the cable, just assume that this is like one solid piece. If they sold an IEM with a fixed wire that looked like this, that had this sort of like length to it, you'd be like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? That's so long. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And I don't know why they did that, but you get around that and you put them in your ears and you start listening, and that's when you find the magic. Now, I've even tried listening to them. I think I tried reversing them. Let me see. Try to get it like the right one in and just have it down like that. And you can get it a little bit. That's pointed down. It really should be pointed up. But it's like, if you do it in a certain way, you can kind of get it to just fit. Like right now, it's in. That's in. I could do this. And that's in. They're pointing straight forward now, those wires. They do such weird things, great weird things with my audio. They're obviously getting a massive recommendation, huge. A plead to make wire not make me angry. Other than the wire, other than the wire and the slightly, I think the fit has everything to do with the wire, not just like the shape. I think the shape is probably fine, but the fact that I have to deal with this long, straight, stiff thing, giggity, it just makes it harder to deal with. And if the tips, like, you could use the stock tips. I don't deal with like, you could try spiral dots, you could try everything else. These are great. They're great because they're different. Imagine for a second, all right? Imagine if the Nighthawks, which I reviewed years ago, and then I reviewed the Carbon years ago, and I always said those are different and take some people getting used to, and maybe you like the sound. Those were a maybe you like the sound. I think everybody who tries these will like the sound, and they're different, which is a very hard thing to do. Am I done with them? Yes. Am I sending them back to the UK where they came from? Yes. Thank you very much. I'd love to know if they make any improvements on them, or, you know, if anybody wants to throw me like the 9,000 Echo. What is 9,000 pounds in US dollars?
9,000 pounds is 10,980 US dollars and 3 cents.
And 3 cents. And 3 cents. I don't get it.
Cent 3 plus cent 3 equals cent 6.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Thank you. Okay. Planar headphones, planar earphones. Links to these, wherever they come from. That's it. What else can I say? I'll link to whatever else I talked about. Maybe not the Andromeda Golds. Those are a different... These are weird to the point where I love them to death. And these are Andromeda Golds, and we'll get to those in another review. Anyway, download Rika in the description. She's down there. These are down there. Links to a couple other things down there. Links to the Patreon. I was talking about that $10 Patreon chat. You join my Patreon for $5 a month, you get into yard sales where certain things get sold. You join the $10 tier, you get into that private chat where I think the guy who made these or one of the distributors is in there. Skedger's in there, the Viking Weave guy. He's reviewed them already. And he loves them. He's just selling them. He's doing more selling of these in the patronage chat than I am because I just did the review. Now I'm going to do the selling because I love these. And you also get into there and you get to see all these posts early, at least a week or two early. RMAP's coming up, so it's like a weird motion. And more things will be coming. And I'll see you all tomorrow for another review. And hopefully this wasn't too long and rambling. I know when I start talking about sound, people just tune out. This guy's not even talking. So anyway, I will see you all tomorrow for another review. And it won't be as weird as this one.